Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2021 Lincoln Aviator all-wheel drive hybrid in the Grand Touring trim level. This Aviator is sitting on a set of 275/45 Pirelli tires wrapped around 21-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is Burgundy Velvet. And when the sun is shining directly on the paint, it really is an impressive color. It has a metal flake in there, and just overall a nice, classic, non-gaudy color. And so you have to check out my night video because there's a lot going on in this vehicle inside and out with the lighting, especially here in the front. So during the day, you just can't see what's going on. The badge here in the middle illuminates and looks really cool. So there's the badge during the day. And just below it is a little camera. That's part of the 360 camera system. There's some reflective chrome there around the outside of the grille, kind of as a frame. The inside portion, these are kind of like less reflective or non-reflective chrome pieces there. It also has active grille shutters in there as well. Parking sensors across the front and back, and they're body colored, integrated nicely. There's some gloss black portion there at the bottom. Wheel well ventilation right in here. Now the headlights are a active bending projector for your low and your high beams. Very impressive. It also has the turn signals. Everything about this vehicle is LED, but the turn signals are LED, and they're kind of like in a separate location. So that way they don't, get overpowered by the headlights, which is nice. The fog lights are fantastic, and the fog lights kind of fade in and out, and they're in a multiple projector, so it kind of has a good spread, a good control of where the light goes. And I take it down the road, show you what it looks like at nighttime. So you got to check out that night video. It is a very detailed overview of the interior and exterior lighting of this vehicle. Looking at the profile, you can see the contour, the shape of it is very, very impressive to me. The size of the vehicle and the way they contour it to make it look less like this huge thing and more kind of sporty. So you can see it kind of, this roof line kind of swoops down a little bit, and then they have the chrome strips around the glass here. It kind of comes out and then kind of tapers back, and then leaves it open in the back to connect with the back glass, which is really nice. Body colored handles, side mirror, and check out those wheels. Very impressive, kind of fan shaped, turbine shaped wheels. There's a lot positive to say about this vehicle as far as the shape of it and just the exterior looks. There's a gloss black portion there on the side, kind of emphasizing, the length here. The doors go all the way down to the very bottom of the vehicle, protecting that little threshold area, so keep you from getting your clothes dirty when you get inside. It kind of protects it from getting too much dirt there. You have the Aviator badging here on the side with the blue color, and it seems like that's a common thing with hybrids and electric vehicles, is a blue color. The underside of the side mirrors is body colored. The upper portion is the gloss black, and you can see one of the cameras here. There's one on each side integrated right here, so that's part of that 360 camera system. This is what the key looks like, and it's a pretty standard Ford key, except for this one's Lincoln. So Ford uses the same key, Lincoln's use the same key. Nothing really to say about it as far as the uniqueness, but it has lots of useful buttons here. Remote start, lock and unlock, the ability to open up the power liftgate, and a panic button. There's a physical key on the inside as well. And changing the battery is really easy. Just take this physical key out and then you just pry up on this back cover and it just kind of pops off. And the key's right there. I mean, the battery's right there. So it's really easy to change the battery in this thing. It is kind of big and heavy and just kind of bulky to carry around, but that's just the way they chose to do it. And so let's go ahead and push the panic button. And let's open up the power lift gate. So you can see you can go ahead and raise it with the key. You can also lower it with the key. Comes back down. And when you remote start the vehicle, you push the lock button and then double tap the remote start. And what will happen, since this is a hybrid, sometimes the engine will not run. It will just be the electric portion. And it'll get the climate control going and all that stuff, but you're not going to hear the engine start up necessarily. So just keep that in mind. So as long as you have the key with you, you can use the vehicle 100%. It is a proximity key system. So as long as it's on the outside of the door, on any of these doors really, there's a button actually, a physical button on the inside of this handle that you press and it releases the door. To lock it, there's a little thing right here, soft touch button. You just double tap that and it locks it. You can also use a code to enter the vehicle as well. And it's set up to where when it locks, the side mirrors fold in. But yeah, that physical key, that physical, button on the inside is kind of interesting. So when I first grabbed the handle, it felt like there was, there was odd that it was actually a physical button under there. Now I mentioned the physical key that comes out of the key fob. If you need to open the door, like I said, the battery's dead or something, there is a physical key location right here. So there's this little cover right here, and he lifts up, and then there's the physical key location right in there. So it's pretty interesting. It's a little bit far away from where usually vehicles will have them in this area, but that one has it in that little door over there. So you can see the door goes all the way down, and it's sealed up there at the bottom. So it keeps this area relatively clean. So the inside of the door, it has a hard touch surface down here and a large compartment here, and then a bottle holder, and then a smaller compartment there. Big speaker grill here and here. And it sounds really good. The sound system is sounds good. The only problem is there's like a rattling going on, and there's like, you can hear like squeakiness. I don't know if you can hear that. So it was kind of really, the sound system is amazing, but that rattling sound that's coming from only this door really just ruins the whole experience. But this particular vehicle's got an issue, so you want to check that out before you buy one to make sure that it doesn't have that issue, of course. Now soft touch surfaces are up here, and then here this is like a vinyl type material. This is an injection molded, kind of like a Nerf football type material. And this is enclosed little pocket there. It also utilized as a handle, which is nice. There's some gloss black, and you'll notice there's a door lock controls, the power window, but you'll notice that the seat controls are here in the door instead of on the side of the seat. So you can go forward and back. There's thigh extensions here. Your headrest is adjustable. This right here moves forward and back, the top of the back of the seat. I'll show you that in a second. Also, you have lumbar adjustment there as well. So since there's so many buttons here, if they were on the side of the seat, it'd be kind of like you'd have to get used to all those buttons and what to do with them. But since they're there, you can actually physically see them. So when we adjust the seat, the thigh extensions, you can see you can do one or the other independently. So if you want to have one or the other up and the other one down or whatever, I thought that was interesting that they're adjustable independently. And then of course you can tilt the back, but also has this upper portion that goes in and out, separate. And then the lumbar adjustments. But yeah, these seats are very interesting. Even the headrest, you know, like moves up and down, in and out, and all that stuff to get it to the position that you want. There's a lot of adjustments in these seats, and I would say they're comfortable for some people, but for me particularly, they're not like, they don't really do it for me. But you know, this is a subjective thing. They're not bad. I'm not like getting, you know, having problems sitting in it for periods of time. It's just doesn't feel like super comfortable to me. But I can see where a lot of people will like these seats a lot, especially the way there's so much articulation. Now, it could be that there's so much articulation that I don't have it set up right for me, so maybe that's what it is. But you see how high the seats are off the floor. It's like you're sitting in a nice chair, and there's plenty of legroom here. There's even this pass-through that the driver or passenger can use. There's a lockable glove compartment, and it's felt lined, and it's pretty good size. Has a place up here to put the manual. The manual is just kind of laying right here. Look how thick that is. Now this is a soft touch surface here, so unlike the door, this has the soft touch surfaces here. Soft touch here, and then you have some gloss black there. And there's some wood grain, and it has like this little concave feature to the dash here. And it's pretty good. I would say that's pretty good for acoustics. The way the contour, the non-flat surface of the dash here, it helps out with the sound of the radio and everything, and also the airspace in here as well. So there's a soft touch dash. The opening in the front door, I mean, it is just massive. The amount of space for getting in and out of the vehicle, it's like it's like effortless, basically. You just hop right in. You don't have to worry about hitting your head or anything like that. Same thing in the back. Lots of room, just wide open space for entering and exiting. Now, the inside of the back door does have this shade that extends up, and privacy glass as well. So you still have the soft touch surfaces here, and then the hard touch down here. Similar speaker grills. Now, forgot to mention on the front door, how you open the door is you push this button, and it's an electric release. These second row seats are basically captain's chairs, but you'll notice that they don't have a lot of bolstering or contour. They're just kind of flat seats, but they're not that bad. I mean, they're not uncomfortable. They don't have like the wraparound or anything like that. It does have armrest here, kind of fold down here in the center part, and of course you use the door as your armrest on the outer part. There's a pocket on the back of both front seats. And this portion right here is a soft touch. Kind of looks like a hard touch, but it is soft touch. And you have some chrome right there. There's this center compartment that gives you the ability to open and close the shade. There's a storage area, illuminated cup holders here. You also have this little compartment here that's illuminated, and it's like a felt lined. Goes in there quite a ways. There's a USB charge port, which is not illuminated. I'm giving away some of the spoilers from the night video. Okay, so back here is a screen, and this will be for your climate control and stuff like that, and also some radio control back here, so you can control some of the audio. And then there's some vents and charge ports. So you have So there's USB and USB-C there on the left side. And then on the right side is a 3-prong Edison outlet. So that's a 150 watt power inverter, 110 volt. There's some lights back here, which you can turn on or off. Handles as well, and a little hanger. Something I want to mention about these doors is you really kind of have to slam them pretty good, because it's real easy to not shut it all the way. So you kind of have to really give it a slam to get these doors to shut all the way. To access the third row, you push this button here, and it releases the seat to where you can push it forward. Now, even when you do that, depending on how far back the front seats are, there is a really limited amount of space here. So there's a step here, and then you can kind of get in there the best you can. So this is the limiting factor as far as who's going to fit back here. So you can see the seats are very thin, they're very low to the floor. So if you're tall, then your knees are going to be sticking up in the air. There is some cup holders and little storage areas back here, but there is some vents as well. But you know, this is like for really short trips, car seats or small kids, that kind of thing. Go here in the second row. I mean the third row. The second row is fine. There's lots of room in the second row. The third row is where it begins to be an issue for adults, I would say. You can also fold the seat down in like this cargo mode here, which will give you the ability to lay, you know, large boxes or whatever in the cargo area once you start folding seats down. Take a look at the back of the vehicle. You can see here at the top though, first, it has the metallic roof rails, a gloss black shark fin antenna there in the center. The third brake light is right here. It's an LED strip. We're looking really nice. You got to check out the night video. And it's integrated in that rear spoiler. Also, a rear wiper is in there as well, and it kind of swings down. So that way, if there's any ice or snow or anything, then it swings down and pushes it off the windshield. All right, so it has the nice Lincoln badging across the back. The backup camera, which is also part of the 360 camera system, is right here in the very center. It's in a relatively high position. I think it's in a good spot for a camera. That's an issue with a lot of vehicles. They just have them in this awkward, weird spot, offset and all that stuff. The taillights are amazing. Nice red, bright taillights. Everything LED, turn signals, everything like that. Reverse lights, and you can see all that stuff in the night video at night, so you can see the full clarity. It's parking sensors across the back. It has dual exhaust tips. Now, you may notice something here. Right here, you can see that right there. This part right here, the exhaust does not flow out of this. It actually flows out of the bottom. So that's kind of cheesy. Not sure why they do that. Maybe to keep this part clean looking all the time and to direct the exhaust below the vehicle. But it just kind of, you know, it's real obvious, and it's like, why bother with the other style, you know? I don't know, just kind of strange to me. So there's some gloss black back here. Now this cover, it covers up the Class 4 trailer hitch. There's a handle right here, and it's a little easy to take off. I mean, you just grab it and pull it, and it kind of pops right off. And there is the hitch. Then there's a 4- and 7-way outlet right here, covered up. You can get to relatively easy, and it all stays behind that cover. So it stays clean, basically, when the cover's on. You can use the key to open up the power lift gate, or there's a button over here, pretty far here to the right, and it's between the O and the L, and there's actually a little indicator right here in the plastic. It's not super noticeable, but it does have one right here. Just below that, there's a button, and you just push that, and it raises it up for you. You see there's a light on the underside of the liftgate. This is a hard plastic. If you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this will be your cargo space. There's a subwoofer here on the left side. There's also a little bag holder here, which you can flip up out of the way. A tie down as well. There's also a place to where you can install a shade if you have one. I think that's an accessory. It's kind of small, but it is available for what it looks like. And there's some controls there for this third row seat, 12-volt power supply, and there's another tie down. You can see there's another light here on the right side. And I go into some of the pluses and minuses of the way this light setup that they have here for the cargo area in the night video, so you can check that out. Okay, so this opens up, so you can push that. And it's kind of rubberized on the underside, which is nice. Lift this up, and this is just a loose panel. Once you lift it up, it's just this loose panel. You can take it out, or you can kind of put it in this place right here and kind of prop it up to keep it from like flopping down on you. And then you have this additional space under here for cargo. And here's actually the charge port. So this is a plug-in hybrid. This plugs into the vehicle, and this plugs in to your wall at your house. Now it has the regular 110 adapter. You also have that plugs into that the 220. So it looks like a 20 amp 220 outlet that it will, you know, charge it much faster. So this cable is about like 20 feet long, so it's got pretty good amount of length there. You can also grab this handle here, and you will need to take that other floor out completely. And then once you pull this up and take this out, it has quite a bit of insulation on it. Now you can access the spare tire. And the tools are underneath the spare tire. And it's pretty big. It's a really big spare tire, but it is a temporary. It's not a full size, you know, put on and go. It is a temporary spare tire. And the size and weight of this thing is going to be a little bit of a hassle. You will need to be prepared with, you know, taking it out. It's a little bit of a challenge, I guess you can say, for some people. But it is inside the vehicle, not underneath the vehicle. So, you know, you can say this is a lot easier. Also, it keeps it cleaner and all that stuff. So, pluses and minuses. I would say that I would prefer it here than underneath the vehicle myself. But it's pretty easy to get to as well. You just need to get everything out of the way and you can get right to it. So let's say you just got too much cargo space and you don't have any passengers in this third row. Well, it has these buttons here on the right side. So there's this one says 3R, 3L, and then there's this little symbol right there. So this one will be your right seat from the way you're facing. So this right one right here, and then this left one, and then the center one will be both seats. So when we push the button, let's go ahead and do the right one. Actually, left one, because I have the seat over there already folded down. So let's go ahead and when we push the button, it's going to do two things. For one, it's going to lower the headrest. Then it's going to slowly bring it down to a flat position, which is very similar in height as the second row there. So you can see you can add to your cargo space while still maintaining some passenger space, or you can fold down all the seats and have a pretty significant amount of cargo space here. There's two options here to lower the power liftgate. One is to just simply push it and lower it. The other one is to push this button, then lower it, and it'll lock the vehicle. So if you're completely done and you want to go ahead and just secure the vehicle and you're done with it, once you close this, you go ahead and push the lock button, and then it'll close the power liftgate and secure it. The fuel door is here on the locking fuel door, and it's here on the driver's side, which is very convenient, and it's a capless design. As long as you have the key inside the vehicle, as long as it can be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's inside the vehicle, to start it up, put your foot on the brake and hold it, and then push this button that's here on the dash. Now you may not hear the engine start. In this case, the engine's not started, but the vehicle is ready to drive because it does have the ability to drive 5 miles on electric power. So it's ready to go. So if you don't hear the engine running, doesn't mean that it's not ready. It actually says ready right there. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice the floor mat snaps in place in 2 places there, keeping it straight for you. There's the accelerator and brake pedal. The accelerator pivots there at the bottom. Then there's a footrest here on the left side. It's really nice as far as the size, and the angle is nice. So opening up the hood, there's the hood latch, and it's actually blocked by the door. So when the door is shut, this blocks the ability to open up the hood. Because if you pull this twice, once, twice, then it will have no safety catch. So now that the handle's been pushed twice, all you have to do is lift the hood up. There's no catch or anything. Just lift it right on up. And it gets to a certain point where it goes up the rest of the way by itself. There's insulation and seals on the underside of the hood. You can see there's seals across the back there. A lot of insulation there in the back, the firewall area. And there's a crossbar, it goes all the way across the strut towers. It braces in the suspension towers here, one to the other, so that way there's no ability for them to flex back and forth as much. And the engine goes in there quite a ways underneath this cover here. Then you have space for cooling and stuff like that here in the front. Now this is an all-wheel drive, but it's primarily a rear-wheel drive vehicle. So the orientation of the engine is this way. So the front is here, the back is there, and then behind that you have the 10-speed automatic transmission with the electric motor inside. This vehicle is powered by a twin-turbocharged 3.0 liter V6 engine, also an electric motor inside the 10-speed transmission that has a 13.6 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Now it pumps out 494 horsepower at 5,500 RPMs, also 630 pound-feet of torque at 2,250 RPMs. And it has an estimated total range of 460 miles. The charge port for the plug-in hybrid system is also here on the driver's side in front of the driver's door. So you can open it up and the lights turn on here. Little indicator lights letting you know that it's ready. And you take the charger and you simply just plug it in. And once you plug it in, it will give you this little status light that it is charging, and it will wrap around and increase its size, the status light around, so when it's fully charged it'll be all the way around the outside. Now you can use 110 or 220, and if you use 110 it takes significantly longer than 220, but you can get a full charge within a day or so with a 110. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So you can see the seat controls are still here, but it also has 3 presets for your power seat, for the driver's seat. Power windows. Now the back are one touch, all these are one touch up and down. And the back is a solid piece of glass, but the front has the laminated piece of glass. So you can see there's 2 panes of glass with an acoustic material kind of sandwiched between them. Helps out with that sound. The side mirrors actually have the blind spot indicators in them as well, and they are auto dim side mirrors. All right, so you can You can adjust the side mirrors by choosing the side you want. You can adjust it with this little pad. This button is to power fold the side mirrors in. So you can power fold them in, power fold them out. And then this is to keep the kids from rolling up and down the windows and open up the doors there in the back. So it's a child safety lock there. Door lock controls are here, and I like the fact that it does have a little illuminated button there, which will illuminate when the doors are locked, because you don't really hear any noise. It just keeps people from opening up the door, so it disables that power system. It's not like a physical lock. And then down here is actually an emergency release, just in case that there's no power going to the door lock or whatever. You can open the door by pulling that. It's like an actual physical connection there. So backlit illuminated Lincoln badging here on the sill plate. To the left of the steering column, there's a few buttons here. We saw the fuel door release. This is the power lift gate. Push that to open that up. And then this is your headlight controls. So it has off, parking, automatic headlights, and then headlights on manually. Dimmer switch for your interior gauges, and your fog lights are turned on here. There's also a tilt and a telescoping powered steering column. The heads-up display has a lot of information in it. It has the clock, outside temperature, distance to empty, what gear you're in, digital speedometer. It also shows information about the adaptive cruise control, the lane keeping system, the traffic sign information. There's tons of information that is kind of default on the heads-up display. You can customize it, of course, but you know, there is basically almost the entire gauges and dashes information is here on the heads-up display as well. When you have it plugged in, it'll give you a status here of that it's charging, what the percentage is, and also how long it's going to take, an actual time in which it will be fully charged. They give you an idea of if you know the exact amount of time it takes. And so it senses whether you have the 110 or 220 automatically, and you just plug it in and it will give you the relevant information here. Now, if you have it plugged in like it is now, and you try to push the drive, it's not going to let you go anywhere. It's going to disable your ability to drive the vehicle so you don't accidentally drive away with it plugged in. So remember this button right here, and I said it was for the lumbar adjustment. It's a little bit more advanced than that. So this one right here, when you push it, it pops up this screen, and you can adjust different parts of the seat. So you do have lumbar, you have below lumbar, even below that. So all these are articulated separately. You can adjust the bolsters in and out. Also the bolsters on the bottom in and out. So there's lots of articulation here. You can do that for the driver. You can also adjust it for the passenger as well. Or you can hit the massage button. Let's go ahead and hit the massage button here. You have different massage options for the seats. So you have full, circular motion, upper rolling, relaxed recovery. So if you just want the lower part or just the upper, you can have those independently, or you can have the full thing going on. And you can set the intensity right here, low, medium, or high. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to turn it off because it does make a slight amount of noise and it might be picked up by the camera. All right. Okay, so I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out. Now, I'm going to put the seat all the way back and all the way down because I'm 6 feet tall, just to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. So you can see that this is too far back for me. So I'm not like putting my legs straight out. I can do that, and I can touch the pedals a little bit, but it's just a little bit too far back for me. I can really extend my leg out. But so if you're over 6 feet tall, should have plenty of room here in this vehicle. The articulation is like unmatched as far as the different positions you can have, the adjustments, the massage seats. I mean, the thing about this particular seat is there's so many adjustments. You really got to spend the time to adjust it for you, because when I first got in this vehicle, they didn't feel comfortable, these seats, so they were adjusted for somebody else apparently. But okay, so here's the steering wheel, and you can see it's two-tone. It has like a dark brown and a tan. It's looking really nice. It's very comfortable, easy to hold. It has a little bit of a softness to it, and just overall impressive looking. And it also has impressive button controls. So some of the controls will go away when you have them turned off. So you can see these backlit buttons. These are backlit during the day as well, and I really like that, so that way you can actually see them really good with that bright white lettering and then the black background. They really pop out. Now the black, gloss black, does have a lot of reflections and stuff, but you can still see it fine. I hadn't had any problems, and the actual buttons are back here. So these are for the cruise control, so you can resume, set on this side, and on this side is the cancel, and then the lane keep assist, and then on the very bottom is set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you using the adaptive cruise control. Here on the left side is the volume for the radio, up and down, and then the left and right is to change the tracks or your radio station depending on what you have playing, and it's like a little joystick. It's like a little concave little joystick type thing there. This is the turn on or off your cruise control. So here on the right side, you'll notice when I push, see it has like settings here at the bottom, the phone there, radio there, and then navigation here. And then this is like a pages button. Now this corresponds with the screen here, and we'll get to that in a minute. But before we get to that, when I push down for the settings, watch these buttons. They change. Some of them go away and some of them now are illuminated. We also have this home button now. So if we go back, you can see the home button's gone and the buttons change. So depending on what we're doing, you may have a different set of buttons here. Here on the steering wheel, right in here, is a little button for the voice recognition. So it's kind of an interesting separate spot that your thumb kind of goes over when you're having it in a driving position. And when you press it, it will pop up here and tell you to bark out a command. You have to know basically what to say, and then if you don't know what to say, you can...
Let's try one more time. As a reminder, make sure your windows are closed, the fan speed is low, and background conversations are minimized.
Help.
Help. Interrupt me at any time by pressing the voice button. You can say, phone, navigation, Sirius, USB, AM, or FM. To get more detailed help, say the name of the device, followed by help, like phone help. To access the voice settings, say voice settings. If your phone is connected, you can say commands like redial, call John Smith, or dial 5550.
Okay, so basically it has a full, very advanced voice recognition system, and you can, say, you can control a lot of different features, make calls, and change the radio, and all kinds of different things. Go to navigation addresses, all that stuff, simply by just using your voice. Alright, your windshield wipers are here on the right side. It has rain sensing windshield wipers, also rear wiper, and the full range of features as far as intermittent wipers and all that stuff. On the left side, there's the turn signal indicator, but also your high beam controls. But there's a button here on the end to turn on your lane departure warning system. So you can turn that feature on or off. If it's annoying you or whatever, then you can turn it off. But if you want to be, focused on making sure you're not exiting a lane, you can turn that on. And that's different from the lane keeping assist system, which will actually turn the steering wheel. Okay, so here is the screen. It's a whole full gauge cluster, everything. in one screen, and we're going to use this button right here, and these set of buttons here to control it. Okay, so you notice it has right now in this particular screen, it has a digital speedometer here on the right, in the center of an actual representation of like a regular type of speedometer, and on the left side is the RPMs. It shows the engine coolant temperature, fuel gauge. It also has a little battery meter showing you how far you can go on the fuel, but also how far you can go on the battery. This is what your radio is doing. So that phone number is to call, to sign up for satellite radio. Outside temperature, which direction the vehicle's facing, and then you have this information here. So this trip 1, I reset it when I first got the vehicle so you can see about what's going on. The reason why the miles per gallon is so low, it started off being in the mid 30s, is because I set it to conserve EV or preserve EV. So that way it's actually using the gas engine more to charge the battery in addition to drive the vehicle. So it drove down the miles per gallon quite a bit since I started doing that to get more, to have more experience with the electric portion of the vehicle. So if I go down to the settings, when I push down, then we have this right here. So we have HUD on. We can go into the display, brake coach, oil life, right here. So this is the initial settings. All right, so we can turn the HUD off if we'd like. Display setup, let's go into that and choose the information that we want, or change to kilometers per hour. All right, let's take away the tachometer view and let's go back out of that, and see what the screen looks like without the tachometer. So now the digital speedometer is in the very center instead of being on one side, and then you have that center information here on the right side. So it kind of changes it up a little bit depending on what you have selected. When I push the Pages button, it cycles through different information, and since this is on the right side now, it was in the middle of the same information. So when I select the page that I want, okay, so let's go back to, I'm gonna keep pressing it until I go back to trip 1. So that's the original one. So when we're looking at trip 1, it gives us the amount of time, the average miles per gallon, the total miles traveled, and then how many miles of that was electric. So, we can keep track of how much. So like I plugged it in for several days each night and made sure I had a full charge, and it only goes about 15 miles or so, and then it starts using the engine even if you choose as much EV as possible. Then you have fuel economy, and you have different pages here. So there's 3 of them, and then tire pressure. So let's go back to the settings here. The brake coach. So when you have that selected, it will, when you come to a stop, it'll pop up and say, and I show this a little bit in the test drive video, how much energy you were able to recoup relative to not having the regenerative braking on at all, basically. So it's usually 75 or 100 or whatever. That kind of pops up briefly. Also, you can check out your oil life here. When you press up, you go into the navigation. You can look for previous destinations, your favorites, points of interest nearby. So let's go to the previous destinations, and it shows this right here. So whatever the vehicle has, you can select it easily right here. So you can choose your favorites, your home, or previous destinations quickly in the navigation system just by using the steering wheel controls here. If I push it to the left, it goes to the radio, and I can make a different selection here, choose whatever audio source I want. If I scroll to the right, it'll choose the phone, and you can have information here about whatever your phone was doing, basically. Now if we go into the settings and we go to display setup and information screens, we can choose more information there, so you can eliminate a lot of the stuff that you don't use. So a comm screen would just be like a basic screen with not much information. You can have trip 2, this trip, and it only allows you to have a certain amount there. But here's all the different ones you can choose. There's quite a bit. So let's take off the comm screen, take off the 2, and let's go to take off the tire pressure and choose the power distribution, the off-road. And I like the fact that it has a trailer light check, so you can check your trailer lights easier. EV coach, electric efficiency. Let's go ahead and choose that. Alright, so let's go back out of this. Alright, so now when we cycle through the pages, we have more information than before. So instead of just the 3, now we have several more. Off-road. So this will be your the angle of the vehicle. So if I'm on level ground right now, obviously, but if I was on a sharp tilt or something like that, it would show the pitch and roll of the vehicle. Power distribution, so this will let you know what tires are. So this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, so which power is going to which wheel. This is more useful for off-road type stuff. And the electric efficiency, so it kind of gives you some information about that. So it actually says 23.5 mile range on a full charge. I haven't been able to achieve that. Maybe I'm not driving it as easy or as slow as it needs to be in order to do that. But that's what it's saying anyway. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the screen and what it does. There's a few things in there that once you get it set up, it's just a little bit complicated. Once you get it set up though, it's easy to use and you don't really have to go into a lot of stuff. And you know, to simplify the screen, you could just simply have less stuff on the screen, like take away the tachometer, take away the center information if you want, and just have the relevant information, like say the fuel, the speedometer, you know, stuff like that. So it is really nice having this digital screen here, and the clarity is nice. Some of the lettering can be a little bit bigger. Maybe like the F-150, it has a full digital screen, but everything's nice and big and easy to read and very simple. Maybe it could be a little bit more like that. But since it's a Lincoln is trying to be a little bit more classy, I guess, so they make it a little bit, more stylish. So here's the center touchscreen. Now I have adjusted the camera as best I can to avoid any flickering. But since it is an LED display, it has a little bit of a flicker, so I tried to eliminate that as much as possible. When I change the settings, you can see it gets really bad. So this is the best I can get right in here, right in there. So right now is the home screen, which is a split between the navigation map, the radio, and your whatever your phone's doing, basically. And it has some fixed buttons down here, so these buttons will stay there, and it's easy to go to these key locations. Now at the home screen, we can make a selection. We can go straight to the map, we can go straight to any of these. We can also look at the power flow, and I had an experience where this power flow screen would not, actually a couple times, with it would not pop up. It would tell you what's going on, but the actual animation would not show up. But I'm glad it's working now, so we can see that the engine's charging the battery right now. So as you drive, it'll show you where the power is going and what it's doing, basically. And I show that when I test drive the vehicle as well. So let's go back home. you can go into the charge settings and you can see what's going on as far as the battery level and all that stuff. And you can change your charge preferences as well. Charge time, departure time setup. And so let's say you don't want to charge while there's like some expensive electric charge or something, or whatever. You don't want it charging all the time when you plug it in. You can change those that time setting. And there's a button at the charge port in which you can initiate that. All right, now, so let's go ahead and go through these buttons here at the bottom. So the first one is the audio. So it has presets. It does have some album art depending on what you're playing. Right now, it's satellite radio, and this is just like the preview channel because it's not activated. But you can see it has the channel art, and it also will pop up album art here as well. And then you can change sources, AM, FM, satellite radio, and the Bluetooth is now on there because I have the phone paired. The next icon here is your phone, and then it shows different information about your phone, contacts that are on your phone, text messages, all this kind of stuff. All right, so the next one will be the navigation map, and you'll notice it has a digital clock, outside temperature, climate control information here at the top bar as well that's fixed. You can always go back to the home by pressing this home button here. All right, so it does have the ability to pinch zoom in and out on the navigation map. And you could do a search, and you can make different selections here. And there's the menu there where you can change navigation settings. You go to your history, your favorites, points of interest, change the view of the screen, and you can select home or work. The next one will be apps. So this will be the power flow. We saw that shortcut to this on the main screen. So on the home screen is basically a shortcut to that in the apps. Sirius Travel Link, which is nice. So you can find the nearest gas stations. You can sort it by price or brand, that kind of stuff. Also mobile apps, so like say it has Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto capable wirelessly, so you can have that as well. Alright, so we'll just eliminate that. Alright, so let's go into the settings: sound, Bluetooth, satellite radio, vehicle settings, clock, phone, driver assistance. You also have, there's Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and you also have the ambient light, and what you could change. You'll see this in the night video. You could change the interior ambient light. You choose the color you want. You could also adjust the brightness as well. Now I notice sometimes I'll press the button and it doesn't pick it up here on the top of the screen. I have to kind of press it a little bit better. It could be just I'm not pressing it right, but that seems to be a common thing, my experience with it anyway. So that's kind of a quick rundown of what the screen's all about and how the basics of using it. It's pretty simple and easy, and the radio sounds great except for a rattling going on with the speakers there to the right. Other than that, it sounds awesome. All right, so down here there is the camera system, the parking aid system will actually turn the steering wheel and actually park the vehicle for you if you're into that kind of thing. And then this one right here, when you press this, it pops up your driver assistance, which you could turn on or off the auto hold or the traction control. Default will be on the traction control, and auto hold, that basically just holds the steering wheel, the brake for you while you're sitting at a traffic light. And if, you do have to push the accelerator to continue to go. Even if you're in drive, it'll just sit there and hold the brake for you. So that just kind of pops up that feature there on the screen. And the camera system is fantastic. Let's take a look at that. So the camera system You can see during the day, I show this at nighttime as well, but during the day, the clarity is fantastic. The saturation, the colors, everything about the camera system looks really good. Now the size of the screen helps out. Having the top-down view, the front view, but also the reverse view. So you have all three different views here. So when you put it in reverse, you have the active guidelines there. When you're backing up, you can see those turning left and right. And then you can see your position, and you can see it stitches all those camera views together to give you a view around the vehicle. Now they could key out some of that gray area around, but I guess that's just as like a precaution or whatever. But you see that, you notice the lines on the parking lot are straight and everything, and the shadows are looking good because it does a really good job of stitching it together. There's no obvious gaps where they blend together like some brands have. But I think overall the camera system's really good, and you know, you can quickly turn on or off the parking sensors there as well. Now they'll actually pop up a visual indicator if there's something that's, like, you know, getting in the way, so that way you can see where it is, front, back, side, or in the center. So that's really awesome. But when you push this, you have the ability to just focus on one view. So if you want to just focus on the front view, and there's actually right there the parking sensors, what they look like there. And of course there's nothing there, so it's not illuminated, but it'll actually illuminate and beep at the same time, let you know to check it out. You can also push this plus button if you're backing up to a trailer, so you can see right the center line. You can see right where the trailer hitch would actually be. You'll be able to see that once it's installed. The ball that sticks into the trailer hitch. And then this view is a rear view, which is really stretched out and wide. So you can see that's the bumper kind of curved, and you can see to both ends. So you can see far to the right and far to the left. So if there's any vehicles coming. It does have the rear cross traffic alert as well, so if there's a vehicle coming from either direction, it will let you know. So if you're backing out of a parking space and you don't see somebody, maybe the sensors will pick that up. So if we want to focus on the front view, we take it out of reverse. I put it in drive. So now I can see the front view like so. It's a more linear view, or we can have the stretched out view. So that way you can see that's the front bumper, and then you see all the way around there. You can always go back to this view as well. So down here is the shifter. These buttons are the shifter. So reverse, neutral, and drive. The paddle shifters on the steering wheel allow you to cycle through the 10 gear ratios, the 10 speeds. If you need to limit your high gear, like if you need to downshift when you're going down a hill or whatever to, you know, get some more engine braking. Now, the way they work is if you press the button, it's more of a suggestion, because it'll just revert right back to drive if you don't press another button, I guess. So, you know, it's not 100%, but it saves you from messing up the transmission if you don't know what you're doing, that's for sure. Alright, so there is a traditional volume knob tuned to the stations. Four-way flashers are here. So you can lock out the rear controls. So in the back, it actually has controls for the radio and also climate control. So you can lock that out if you don't want the kids playing around with it. There's a fan speed, the temperature for the driver, the passenger. You also have the control of the rear as well. Heated steering wheel control is here. Heated and vented seats here and here. And it's a 3-stage, 1, 2, and 3 for both the heated seat and heated and cooled seat. Recirculate the air where you want the air to blow. And the automatic has 3 different stages: low, high. It has the low, medium, and high. So if you don't want the wind blowing, the fan blowing too much, you can make that selection there. So these compartments, they close up like so. And you can open them up, and they have lights in them, looking really nice. And it's a rubber-lined compartment here, and this is where you'll find USB charge port. So there's a USB-C and regular USB charge port. Here is cup holders, and there's little articulating arms in here as well. They're kind of like rubberized there on the sides, which is pretty interesting. And there's this little storage pocket there. Electronic parking brake, it engages the rear wheels by pulling it up. To release it, you push the brake and hold the brake and push this down. So this is the drive mode. When you turn this, I'll show you what it looks like up here, because this is important. This is something you actually want to use in this vehicle. So when I scroll to the right, okay, so preserve EV. So this will use the engine more to charge the battery and power the vehicle and try to charge the battery. If you don't have that selected, it's not going to charge the battery, really. Okay, so all the way to the left is pure EV, so only electric as much as possible. Alright, scroll to the right is the preserve EV. Scroll to the right again is excite, so this would be more like a sport mode, give you more performance, less fuel economy. The next one will be conserve, so this would be use much electricity, try to go easy on everything to try to give you the best fuel economy as possible. The next one will be just kind of normal, just kind of like a balanced, regular driving vehicle, as close to that as possible. And then you get into slippery, so this would be road conditions. So if it's wet, if it's snowing, that kind of thing, you can select that. You're just letting the vehicle know that it's not a normal situation. Alright, the next one will be deep conditions. Deep snow or mud or sand. So there's a little bit more involved with the way the vehicle interacts with things, the way it drives, basically, if it has to go through this deep material that's on the road. And that's as far as it goes. When you scroll all the way to the right, it just stops. So it doesn't repeat. You have to go back to whatever you want. So that's important, because since it has a hybrid system, if you want to gain some battery charging going on, you have to select that. If you want to have as much EV as possible, then you have to select this. You want to make sure that you're using the drive modes for your purposes, type of thing. Alright, so this armrest is nice and soft. It does bottom out, but it's soft on the surface. It's pretty big. You can share it with your passenger, I would say. It lifts up. It's kind of spring-loaded. And there's the under part. And there's this little tray. This is completely felt-lined. And it has this little tray right here that you can take off the side. It kind of clips there on the side. Alright, try to turn on the interior lights a little bit so we can see, since it is a black interior. So there's a 12-volt power supply. There's a little storage pocket there. You can put your key there or whatever. It does have a light, which is good, necessity. But also has this interesting way to hold a cell phone. So it has this right here, and there is a wireless charge port here. So when you're putting your phone there, it has to be able to fit in this area. So my phone has the wallet phone case, so it doesn't fit in there. It depends on it's very limited on how you put your phone in here. You can fit it in a wallet case in here. You have to unfold it and put only the phone side in there, and then the other part just kind of hang over. It's the only way I could figure out how to do it. But this is an interesting way of. I would say it's useful for if you don't have a wallet type case for your phone, then it's probably not a big issue. You just slip it in there and then it charges, no problem, as long as it's the right orientation. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty good amount of room here. It extends here a little bit under and over there. The rear view mirror is auto dimming, and it's auto dimming right now. And the side mirror also is an auto dim side mirror. So we have interior lights, ability to have the interior lights, and there is the sunroof, the shade, and then you also have the ability to have the lights turned on with the door or not. So if you have a kid in a car seat sleeping, you can turn that feature off. So that's the off button. And that way when you open the door, it's not going to turn all the lights on and wake up the kid. That, you know, that kind of thing. All right, there's a place to put your shades in here, and it has like a rubberized interior. The visor has a cloth material, a little clip right here. There's a mirror with lights. HomeLink garage door opener controls are here, and you notice there's no lights on them, but when you press it, it has a little light that illuminates. It's very similar on the other side, except for it doesn't have the HomeLink garage door opener controls. So here's the sunroof. So let's go ahead and close the shade all the way. So you can see that it blocks 100% of the light. All right, so no light coming in. Open up the shade, and when you open up the shade, it stops. Then you have to push the button again in order to get it to go all the way back. But it is a massive sunroof. And the back portion is fixed. The front portion can move. So let's go ahead and lift it up and move it back. Push it again, it goes a little bit more. All right, go ahead and move it this way. Now, if you want to tilt it up, then you push the forward and it'll go ahead and tilt it up or down. All right, now we close the shade. Then you got to push it again to make it go all the way. Now, if you hold it, sometimes it'll go all the way. Like you hold it for a few seconds and then let go. So take a look at the visibility in the back. I have some of the seats down on one side, and one side I have them up. So you can see how they limit your visibility. So the headrests, especially on the third row, really, get in the way. Same thing with the second row. So if you're not utilizing passenger space, it's a good idea to go ahead and fold them out of the way, because look how much more visibility you have back here. Just by folding the seats down, at least the headrests on the third row, you can fold those down separately just to get better visibility when you're not using them. So there you have it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.